Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Here are some tips for customizing your iPhone's home screen. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So you probably already know the basics of how to rearrange apps on your home screen. For instance, you can tap and hold an app and then drag, and now you can move it anywhere you want on that screen, or even to the right and it will go to the next screen and you could drop it there. But that could be a pain if you have to move multiple apps. But you can do a group of apps by tapping and holding one and then starting to move that one around. And then you could tap other apps and put them together in a group. And you can see how I'm dragging 4 apps right now. And I can go to another screen and drop them there. You can also use the same technique to quickly reorder apps. For instance, let's say I want a new order for the bottom 2 rows here. I pick the first app and tap and hold that and then start dragging it like before. Now I'm going to tap all the other apps in the exact order where I want them to appear. So I'll do this one next, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And then I'm just going to simply release it where I want them all to be, and they're all going to fall in exactly the order in which I selected them. And I could have dragged them to another home screen and dropped them all there as well, and they would have followed that order. Now you can also take an app that you don't use very often off of your home screen without actually deleting it. You see, you've got various home screens. I've got actually 3, make that 4 here. But if you continue to the next screen, it's actually going to take you to your library screen. That's the last one over on the right. And here you've got all your apps grouped by category, and you can also search for them, or just by tapping in the search box at the top you get an alphabetical listing. You can even tap on the right here to jump to a letter. So you don't have to have all your apps on home screens. Any app that is missing from a home screen would still be here in the library with everything else. So to take an app off of all your home screens without deleting it, just tap and hold that app and then select Remove App. On the next screen, instead of selecting Delete App, select Remove from Home Screen. And now you can see it's not on the home screen anymore. It's not on any of your other home screens. But if you go to the library and then you search for it, you can find it right there and you can run it from there. So all the ones that you rarely ever use, just take them off your home screen so they're not cluttering things up. Now you may have already noticed how I've got the calculator app here on the first screen and the calculator app on the second screen. So you can put the same app on more than one screen. So you can have screens that group apps for various purposes. And if one app fits in 2 different groups, you can have it on both those screens. So for instance, if I also wanted to have the Notes app here on the second screen, all I need to do is go to the library, search for Notes, and then tap and drag it, and then go back to the screen I want, drop it there. Now you can see it's on that screen, but it's still here on this screen. Now you saw before how I've got 3 different screens of icons. I also have some widgets here on a 4th screen. If you tap and hold the screen until everything wiggles and you get the little minus buttons for removing apps, you can tap the dots at the bottom here and it shows you all your home screens. And there are checkboxes under each. So you can remove some of these home screens like that. So now I've got this first one, and if I swipe over, I go right to the library. The other screens are hidden. You can also use this to reorder screens. So you can go in here and you could drag screens around and change the order. So now I've got the screen full of games. That one is the second screen. And the alternative home screen here that I've got, that's the third screen. Now you can change which screens you see at any one time without having to go in and check and uncheck home screens. Go into Settings and then look for Focus. And even if you don't use focus modes to say quiet notifications, you can use them to change the home screen. So I'm going to add a new focus mode here. I'm going to choose Custom, and I'm just going to give it a temporary name, Test, and I can choose a color and an icon and whatever I want there. And I'm going to choose Next, and then I'm going to customize it. And I can silence notifications and do all sorts of other things you can do with Focus. But I could also choose the home screens that are present in this focus mode. So I'm going to tap right there. And I'm going to choose this screen right here and the widget screen. And these will be the 2 that's available in this focus mode. Then done. And now when I go and change focus modes to Test, you can see this is my home screen now, not that first one. And then I've got the widgets as the second screen and the library after that. If I want to go back to the other mode, I just turn off this mode to go into my normal non-focused mode. And you can see I've got those three screens showing but without the widgets because that's what I've got set right here for normal mode. Now if you customize your home screens by removing apps, changing the order and all of that, and you want to start fresh, you want to start over again, there is a way to reset your home screens. If I go into the Settings app and then I go to General and then I scroll to the bottom and then you can see Transfer or Reset iPhone. If I select that, I can tap Reset here. And this is all pretty scary going this far. But notice that when you get here, it actually gives you the option to reset all settings. That's the dangerous one. But you can also reset your home screen layout. So let's do that. And it has you confirm there. And now when I go back to the home screen, you can see it's set to the default mode. It's got a couple widgets at the top. It's got all the default apps there. The default apps flow over onto the second screen here. And then notice the cool thing is that after all the default apps, they end here with the Tips app. I have all of my third-party apps in alphabetical order. So starting here with the Apple Store app that I've added and then going through all of my other apps all the way to the last one alphabetically. And then I could start customizing all over again. So I hope you found these tips for customizing your iPhone's home screen useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.